It's your boy, Alex. It's your daddy. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Alex from Fitment Industries, and today we are here to talk to you about something that happens after you buy aftermarket wheels. Because hey, you know, I picked up some cool new wheels. I'm feeling pretty fresh. We got like IG tags, we've got subscribers, I have ramen, things are good, I am happy. And I realized that like when I picked out these wheels, after measuring them 24,000 times and finally getting them in, that there's a couple things that even probably took me a little bit by surprise when it came down to buying wheels and kind of receiving them and actually doing all the stuff to get the wheels onto the car and all of that stuff. So we thought we would make a video. 5 things to expect when buying aftermarket wheels. I'm Alex from Fitment Industries. You can subscribe if you want to so that we can continue making cool videos. And if you haven't been subscribing, you're gonna want to, because look at all the great stuff that you're probably just kind of sort of missing out on. Rhoda! And also, wheels, tires, suspension, fitmentindustries.com. Thanks. If you're wondering where the nasally thing is coming from, it's because I was sick last week and now I'm back. I'm feeling pretty good. However, I have destroyed at least 3 bottles of NyQuil, DayQuil, a couple Kleenex boxes, and probably some other things that you shouldn't. So anyway, here are some 5 things that you should expect when buying aftermarket wheels. So like, as soon as you get the confirmation email, you're probably on the hype train, like you're super excited. You're gonna email us 10 minutes after ordering to ask if we actually got the order, and then you're gonna check for tracking the next day, and that's just pretty much how it goes. We see the comments, we see the messages, we see the DMs, because now we live in a world of just instant response, which we love. So number 1, whenever someone gets like a minty, fresh, like, wheels, they're like the most careful person in existence because they don't want to curb them, but it happens.
Oh, busted your rim.
So whether you're like going through a drive-through, whether you're going through like the mall, or you're trying to like be a cool kid and drive in front of the mall so everybody sees you before you park, I know that you've done it, and you're gonna see that you're probably gonna end up having to be a little bit more careful. But what it really comes down to is that if you're running a more aggressive setup, that you're gonna wanna be careful in terms of where your wheels stick out. So if you're going down in some sort of aspect ratio for a tire size, or you're going with more of a stretch setup, you're actually going to be exposing your wheel to more chances or risk of you actually damaging them. And then the one time that you're not paying attention is the one time that you're going to curb them. Usually what we recommend is that when you get your first set of wheels, when you get them and you get them on, to just be more careful than you ever were before. That includes driving recklessly, that includes Speedy Gonzalez, the things that you're gonna do on the highway, that pretty much includes everything. A lot of times people don't take like a little bit of a break-in period, and next thing you know, like a wheel falls off because they didn't torque it to spec, or they curb the wheel because they forgot that like a 12 wide in the rear actually pokes a little bit on their WRX. And like there's just gonna be some things that we would want you to take into consideration, because then we're gonna get an email saying, hey guys, I curbed my wheels because this one time at band camp, Fitment Industries told me that these wheels were uncurbable, and then they got curbed. You can't, it's not gonna be a good time. Claire has to deal with all those emails now, and I just don't think she needs to deal with that. Another thing that you're probably gonna wanna expect after buying aftermarket wheels is the wheels that you saw may not actually end up being the exact wheels that you get out of the box. For instance, there are different brands that do semi-concave, deep concave, super deep concave, other words that describe a super deep concave. And if you didn't know that and you purchased wheels, let's say Forge Stars or things like that, they're gonna be different than what you thought you were getting. I mean, if you take them out of the box and they're like as flat as a board, you're probably gonna be a little bit disappointed. But maybe you like unknowingly ordered the semi-concave and you thought you were getting a flat profile, in which case you couldn't be really that mad. But you have to remember that offset and width is paramount pictures important if you plan on getting the wheel style the exact way that you want to, because wheel and offset is ultimately going to determine a lot of concavity with your wheel. And what it really comes down to is that when it goes to those stock images and things like that, they're probably gonna show you the most aggressive setup because that looks the coolest. It looks the most baller. It looks the neatest. It looks the meanest. Everybody loves that one. That's the picture that everybody likes. They're not gonna like the one of the flat. You know, you go out on the Instagram and I'm only showing pictures of the rear because the fronts are a little flat. That's why you only see the rear. It happens, it's a thing, okay? What you can expect is that if you're looking to see what a wheel is actually going to look like in the width and offset that you're choosing, just go look at our gallery at fitmentindustries.com and you can see tens of thousands of vehicles that have aftermarket wheels, tires, and suspension. You can see exactly what it looks like. So when you finally get the wheels put on your car and you're really excited and you're taking your pictures, you're tagging your buddies, you're doing the things, and you go to take them for a first test drive, it's probably gonna feel a lot different, so don't be alarmed. It doesn't necessarily mean that your ride quality is gonna be like that permanently, but a lot of times it's going to change the ultimate dynamic of the car, especially if you change your tires as well. A lot of people, after they buy their first set of wheels, they really don't understand what the hell is going on underneath them because they don't know what to expect. Here's a couple things that you can expect. If you're going down in an aspect ratio in terms of like your sidewall or something like that, you're gonna anticipate that you're gonna be able to feel the road more, generally speaking. You're also going to, depending on the quality of tire that you're getting, will also feel more planted. You'll be able to turn corners faster. You're gonna be able to behave a little bit quicker. And then it goes the opposite way. If you're going with the same super tall sidewall profile of like a 225/60, you're gonna have a ton of just comfort and like little road noise and not a whole lot of issues because you're going the safe route, and then you put, you know, 225/60s on like some 7.5 wides because that's just what you wanted to do. But when you are changing out your aftermarket wheels, or when you are changing out your wheels, you're going to experience some different stuff and it's gonna feel a little bit funky. The only time that we would recommend that you actually start to worry a little bit about it is if after you get your alignment, after you get all of that stuff adjusted, if you're going for the camber and the toe and all of that stuff that you're playing into, you're going to want to do all that stuff first before you just determine that the wheels are just behaving a little bit funky with your aftermarket tires. Because I'm going to tell you, if you pick up Toyo Proxy R888Rs and then you were running some like Continental all-season things that you got on the car when you first bought it, and then you're concerned about your wet traction, and then you start getting slippy slidey on a rainy day, that's what the tire, I mean, you gotta know what you're buying. Which goes into another thing. After you figured, you know, you finally took the wheel out of the box, or maybe you bought them with tires and then you take them out and you're like, holy crap, these are semi-concave. I thought they were flat, and then you go to mount them and they feel a little bit different. But then you start looking at them in the light and you're like, wow, this gunmetal is awfully gray-ish, because they name their finishes 9 million colors. Not all finishes or paint is created equal. Quality is a determining factor for how a wheel will handle the elements and how it's gonna look. So not every aftermarket wheel can handle freezing cold Arctic temperatures to blazing hot stuff. If you're going to buy, you know, let's say an entry-level wheel, and then it starts to, you know, fade, or maybe it has issues over time, a lot of times you do have to remember that there are situations in which case that's where certain companies will cut some costs. So not all paint and not all clears are created equal. And that's why a lot of times those higher end brands seem to last so long, and you see them in the aftermarket Facebook marketplace thing forever, is because of that exact reason. Quality and taking care of your stuff is gonna make it last a long time. But if you're looking at something with any sort of wheel protruding, or if you're looking at any sort of stretching or something like that, you're also gonna have to take into account that if you're going to maintain the wheel, you gotta keep an eye on the lip as well. The lip is actually probably one of the first things to go, especially in terms of damage, because you don't notice it, and when rocks kick up and things like that, they hit your lip first. So just be careful with that and take care of it. And last but not least, if you're watching this and you've already bought your wheels and you're thinking to yourself, gosh, I can't wait to get these wheels that have a very flat profile on my big brake kit Subaru Impreza WRX, I have news for you. They probably aren't not going to fit, because that's just how big brake kits work. So when you're going out and you're buying aftermarket wheels, you're going to want to make sure that if you have a different brake system, sometimes even a different rotor system, or you've swapped brake systems into your car, you're going to want to make sure that the wheels actually clear, because there's so many times where we do all the things, right? We get the wheels out of the box, we get them mounted, we go through the test phase, we make sure we get the alignment. We're like, that's a little bit more gray than gunmetal than I remember, but I'm gonna clear coat them because I watched Alex and he said to do that. And then you're doing the whole thing, and you go, and all of a sudden you've got a problem. Because as you're driving, you're realizing that there's something hitting, or there's like a noise, and that's your brake line, or that's something hitting your wheels. That can be super dangerous, in which case we would recommend that if you're trying to keep the wheels, that you end up buying some spacers to space out the wheels from your actual brake components and all of that sort of hub assembly stuff if you're looking for a short-term solution. Otherwise, if you just want to be a big baller and you want to try it all over again and buy a whole nother set of wheels, you can do that too. Things like that also matter even after you buy the wheels, because if you're buying the wheels and you plan on doing that in the future, you may find that the wheels that you bought aren't going to fit the new Brembos or the new Stop Techs or whatever it is that you're looking to install in your car. So try to future-proof your build by planning for what you actually anticipate you'll be buying. And a lot of times I like to say is that if it's within the year of you building the car, so if you're buying something in this year, to plan out what all of those products look like together instead of, you know, thinking 5 years from now, 10 years from now, because you're probably never gonna get that far. But if you can get a year out and you say, this is the thing I'm doing this year, and you plan for wheels, tires, suspension, and maybe a brake upgrade, make sure that the brake upgrade is taken into account before you buy aftermarket wheels. So if you guys have bought aftermarket wheels and you got a tip, drop them in the comment section below. My name is Alex from Fitment Industries. Don't forget to subscribe. Wheels, tires, suspension, the whole 9 yards. FitmentIndustries.com. We will see you guys later. Peace.